Boom. Here we go. All right, we're bringing Jordan in now. We're going to go live with Jordan, buddy. Ding. No, I was too early with my ding. Come on. Connect. There it is.
Hey,
Oh, bounce me in the square. Now I got to adjust this here. Hold on
hold
a
on.
second.
Let me fix mine.
That's all right. Okay. So I'm going to right up front, man. I literally just got in the door from doing social media at the safari park.
And I just got in
And
the door from work.
I got it so close. I didn't get a chance yet to go through and prep the photos that you sent. So I'm going to have to do like I did with Stephanie and throw them into stories afterwards. So I
Okay,
apologize to our audience too, because I'm not going to be able to throw those up here.
that's fine.
I've wanted to get ahead of technology, but timing just beat me out. So
Yeah, that's fine.
any of my people that are following right now or watching this later, if you do not follow Jungle Jordan 23, I don't understand what's wrong with you. Please fix that right now. Um, Jordan and I met several years back right here on Instagram, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Started communicating that way, and now we've had the pleasure of interacting in person a couple of times here in San Diego and up in Seattle, where you're based out of.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to just kind of roll into it like I'm doing with all of these, with everyone who's joining me on these fun little Instagrams daily. First off, we are all dealing with this pandemic. It has changed a lot of lives. I know from a previous time we were talking on one of my lives, you are still going to work. Your wife is able to work from home primarily. So some subtle changes, but overall, how are you doing? I mean, it's kind of stressful for some of us and others are taking it in stride. How are you doing?
Well, to be honest, I have been a little stressed a little bit, because I'm one of the main people that are somewhat responsible for keeping the zoo connected with with our fans, with our followers, and our normal guests. And we've been making a lot of videos called Zoo to You series, which is a series of videos and live streams. And I've pretty much been like running point on this whole video series and kind of doing everything. So I film, I produce, I edit. I do. I don't know. I come up with the ideas. It's been a lot of work. And then I'm on top of that. I'm doing my own social media stuff. So
Right.
that's
So with all of that, I mean, you seem to be more like Juggle Jordan. Are you juggling everything okay there?
I have been. What's funny is it's kind of funny because the whole Jungle Jordan, like, that's kind of like the real me coming out.
Right.
But when I'm there, it's more professional me. Not saying Jungle Jordan isn't professional,
Right, right.
but I let more of my kind of like myself be myself, and where at the zoo, I'm speaking for the zoo. So
Right.
I don't want to I want to make sure that I don't like be too silly.
Right. There's a level of professionalism as you're representing another organization. I
Right.
get that. Trust me.
Right.
So, sweating from going crazy out in the Sorry Park. I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
You are at which zoo? I know, but tell people that if they want to see the content you're saying you're creating for the zoo you're at, where can they find that?
I'm currently at a smaller zoo called Cougar Mountain Zoo. It's located in Issaquah, Washington. I transferred here from Woodland Park Zoo, which a lot of people that follow you might know me from that zoo.
Right.
But I have left there, so now I'm at Cougar Mountain Zoo. It's a small little zoo. They're doing some great things over there with a great set of animals. But they're awesome. So the Zoo to You program is on Facebook and Instagram, and we do live stuff that happens every Wednesday and Friday at 11 a.m.
And they find that on the Cougar Mountain Zoo's web or Facebook and
Facebook.
Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Facebook
Good.
and Instagram.
And then you on your own, you have, and I might be missing something. I know for sure Minute Monday.
Minute Monday.
And then what is it? Wednesday?
Wild Wednesday.
Wild Wednesday. I'm sorry.
You're fine. Yeah,
And
so Wild Wednesday is when you have to, I post the picture zoomed in of the animal, I have to guess what it is. And Minute Monday, I started that originally, that was before IGTV came around. And so I started Minute Monday so I could give people a quick fact about an animal in under a minute on Instagram. That's the whole purpose of me. That's why I made that. But now I can make longer videos. So
right, because
it's
back in the day
longer.
you could only do 1 minute, right?
Right.
That was your limit. But
Mhm.
you also put some of that content on YouTube, right?
I do. YouTube is also Jungle Jordan 23. It's the same handle everywhere. And on YouTube, I usually throw more of my longer videos, vlogs. I do a lot of reviews of stuff. I do a lot of I basically do like zookeeper reviews and like like what does zookeeper think of this? And I
Right.
throw like I do a lot of random. I do like make music videos. I do a lot of random stuff.
Well, that's good because you're fun. You do fun stuff.
I
So,
do fun stuff. Yeah, I
so
try.
tell me this. It sounds like you are coping with the changes we've all experienced in the sense that you're staying on top of your work, you're representing your zoo, you're doing Instagram and Facebook for them and videos and content and producing and all that. And you're still staying on top of your Minute Monday. And what I like about your Wednesday content is you don't just post it and respond there in comments, which that's what I do. You take the time to go live
I
and
do.
you break it down and you interact with people, and I really admire that because that's time consuming. That's a lot of work on your end, and I admire that. I think it's pretty awesome. You take the time. So again, anyone not following Jungle Jordan, you want to have some fun on Wednesdays, especially. He's your guy. That's for
Those
sure.
are always fun.
So it sounds like you've got things under control. You're coping okay.
Yeah.
Everything's but then, it didn't sound quite.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm kind of like burning the candle on both ends, and I try to, tell myself to simmer down. My wife always she doesn't get upset with me, but she kind of, she tells me that, hey, you need time for yourself, that kind of thing, and time for me, kind of time for her,
It's
so,
true. It's true.
Got to make it fit.
Well, good. That's the balance that you need. That's for sure. But as you know why you're here, and as people who've been watching all week know why they're here, I need to ask you, my friend Jordan, what was your and you've had, okay, real quick synopsis for those who don't know. You started volunteering at the Woodland Park Zoo as a kid, even before the age was technically allowed. So you have a good long history
right.
Of interacting with animals, and you've also done some things, where you go outside and you're beyond the zoo grounds doing animal stuff. So from that sort of quick synopsis of your background and what you've experienced, what is your most memorable animal encounter that you would like to share?
Okay. Now, I might, if we have time, I might want to break it into zoo versus in the wild. So I'll talk about this. If we have time. If not, I'll talk about one of my favorite zoo encounters that I've had. I've worked with a lot of different animals, small mammals, large mammals, birds, reptiles, all different things. I think one of my favorite zoo encounters was when I got my first look into actual zookeeping when I was an intern. I got to help basically babysit and help raise 2 clouded leopard cubs. And so one of my favorite pictures that a lot of people have seen on my page, it used to be my old profile picture, was a photo of me with a clouded leopard cub, 6-month-old, on my head, licking my head. so you just see the sheer joy in my face with that photo, because it was so unique. Those little cats, they were so sweet. The one that's on my head, her name was Suksun, who lives in, oh gosh, what zoo is she in now? Ooh, she's down south. I want to say Oklahoma, but I may be wrong. Oh gosh, she's somewhere and just had cubs this year, actually.
Oh, cool.
I cannot remember what zoo she's in. I feel horrible. But she's an adult now, and she has her own kids. And I remember her because baby clouded leopards, they would do this thing called sharking. Okay, so they'd be having their playtime. The 2 cubs were doing their thing. I'm off on the side, minding my own business. They're running around. And one thing they would do is, to get you involved, they'd run past you and swipe at you real fast with their claws out and smack you right in the leg. So they would do that because even though you weren't actually in the middle of play, it was kind of their way of like initiating it with you. Right. And like, hey, I'm gonna smack you. You can't get me now.
Right.
And they used to do it. My legs were torn up after that summer. I had so many scars. It was fun though. They were definitely amazing. Like, I've never had any animal. I've never had to raise an animal like that. They were awesome.
What would be obviously the photo we've seen, and if you haven't seen it, go to Jordan's page. You'll probably see it somewhere there. And I'm sorry, I was going to share it, but I couldn't get it loaded on the camera roll.
Want me to pop it up?
Can you work it from your end? Can you pop it up from your end?
Hold on. I can. I can't like bring it up on the screen, but I can show it on my my own.
Show on your monitor and then turn the camera. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, hold on. Let me do that. Hold on. Let me bring it up. Anyways, what else can I tell you about my other stuff, or?
Well, yeah, but I don't want to break your concentration there. You're trying to
Okay,
paint a
no,
picture.
don't. Okay, you won't break it. Okay, just
Okay,
bear
so
with me, everybody.
when I asked Jordan earlier and set this up to do this, what I try to do with each person is now that I figured out but poorly do it, share the photo thing. I asked him to send me a photo or two that we could share so everyone can see. So he shared not just the clouded leopard one, but another one as well. Here's that clouded leopard one. Getting your hair did there by clouded.
Yeah. So she liked the texture of my hair. Like it felt really nice. It felt almost like their fur, because it was very short. And actually, you can probably see the bald spot there. Not because of her. I was balding at a young age. That's how it goes. Don't laugh at me, Jacqueline. I can hear you.
Yeah, Jacqueline, come on.
But yeah, that was her. She's 6 months old here, and that was a fun experience. That was literally my intro to zookeeping. Well, I mean, I don't know, because I was a volunteer, and like I was a volunteer from a young age, and then I had the jobs before zookeeping. Like I was what do you call it? I was a exhibit attendant. It's like one of their like zookeeper aid kind of things.
Right.
And then I also did an internship with my senior project with Willow Park Zoo with Komodo dragons, doing environmental enrichment, and that was awesome. I got to go in there with them. That was cool. So I've had a lot. It's really tough, Rick.
Oh, I know it's tough. And that's kind of the fun thing about this exercise, to pick just one and talk about it. And like I said with some of the other ones I've done earlier this week, I think because it's Endangered Species Day and we're kind of leading up to it with the other ones I was doing, it's easy to go that route and talk about endangered species and the things we can do to save them and why they need to be saved. But a lot of people in my circle of friends and people I come across, they have unique stories that are unique to that experience. And I'm a strong believer, and I'm sure you are too, that it's those opportunities that we as animal care staff can give to the audience, the guests, these moments that are that connection. That's when they want to step up and get involved, not necessarily dedicate their life and become a zookeeper, but either support or help share knowledge or volunteer or change a little aspect of their life to help these species. And so that's why I love these stories that I'm getting this week, because I think it's kind of an angle we don't always think to talk about, is our unique experience. And I know you have at least one more, and we have time.
I'm looking. Oh, here's the Komodo dragons. That's cool. I'm just like scrolling through some of my old photos. Here it is right here. So here was one. I'll tell this one. I won't tell my hippo story because that's it's not an actual story. It's just me hanging out with him every day. But here,
it's kind of cool.
The hippos are awesome. There is nothing really compares to the hippos. They're super great. But here, this is a place called Tanum Canyon, and this snake here is a Coluber constrictor. It's a the common name is just racer. Mm-hmm. And they were a really awesome snake. But the reason why I'm posting this photo up is because it's one of the only photos I have of that day. We were doing this rattlesnake study, and we kind of basically we're walking up into the Talus Rocks area, little like hillside, kind of like right what like that is behind me.
Right.
And we saw one, and we were like, okay, let's go see that. So me and my friend Gio were out there, and we saw one snake, and we're like, oh, cool, okay, let's hang out here. I had my phone camera, and then I was like, okay, let me get some footage of it. And then Gio points out to the left of him were two more, and then to the right of him were two more, and then behind me were three more, and then on his foot, one crawling over his foot. So I don't really consider that my favorite animal encounter, but it was the most adrenaline-ridden day that I've ever had out in the wild. I can't remember how many ever, if you guys can do math, how many snakes did I count? That was a lot. It was like, we basically stumbled upon a den of snakes, rattlesnakes. And I'm thinking about it now, I'm like, that was terrifying. But I think that my favorite moment from that trip was actually me catching the snake. I will say that because this snake, the racer, they get their name because of how fast they are.
Right.
And they are extremely quick and kind of have a little bit of a temper. But I was able to catch up to it and catch it. And, we're doing like a little study, like we're doing a plot study. We're seeing what we can find, like what snakes we can find in the area. And I wanted to get him and record his length and all that stuff. And he was a big boy, the biggest racer I've ever seen.
Yeah, from that picture, that's a big racer.
Yeah, he was big. And keep in mind, you guys, I'm not short. I'm pretty tall. So, but yeah, so that was one of my favorite moments. That whole day was epic.
Right. So I'm pretty sure. I mean, you said you guys came across a den, but I'm guessing somebody told one of them that Jungle Jordan was in the area. Now let's come out and say hi. I mean, they're like,
I,
he's
I
here
wasn't I wasn't
for
Jungle
real.
Jordan yet. That was 2011. I wasn't Jungle Jordan just yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
I've always been
they
Jordan.
could see they could see your potential. So
Maybe.
they,
Maybe. It's funny.
well, right on, man. So the clouded leopard one,
Yes.
the snake one, great stories, great encounters. Thank you for sharing. Before I let you go,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you, I've been asking everybody else too. Today being Endangered Species Day, from your experience working with animals and your knowledge working in zoos and your history of doing what you do, what would be one nugget of information or one thing you want to share with a general audience that maybe doesn't do the work we do, but is concerned about endangered species? What's the one thing you might share with them that they could either do or think about or help expand their knowledge? I mean, what would you want to share?
Well, I would just say, just be mindful of the of this planet. Like, be mindful of how we are treating the planet, because all these animals are in the same, ecosystems that we are in, and they basically have to live how where we're living.
Right.
And if we help them, they end up helping us, because of a lot of these animals we can survive. Like for bees, for instance, like they're pollinators, and they are the top pollinators on the planet, for in my opinion. They are so important to basically provide us with the food and resources that we need as well. But we just have to basically just be mindful of how we are, you know, there's recycling and reducing our carbon footprint, all these things to help maintain the wildlife, because, we're all in this together.
Right.
Sorry. I don't even
Hashtag
like
Disney
High School
fan.
Musical, but I did that. I went there. Anyways, but so we're in this together. We can't survive. Sorry, Rick. I'm trying to keep it serious.
No, don't be sorry, because I got to be honest with you, man. I got to be honest with you. I have to admit, since you just did that, every single time any news clip or anybody says, well, we're all in this together, my head immediately turns that tune on. We're all in this together.
We are.
So I appreciate it, man. I feel you. I totally appreciate that.
Yes, we're in this together, and we just need to just be mindful of one another, and especially during these times right now. I feel like if all these stories that have been coming out because of the reduction of our carbon footprint and of the things that we are not
Right.
doing, how great the earth is slowly. Hey, maybe it's safe to come outside right now.
Right.
I think we just need to chill. And I feel as though this might be the world might not go back to what it used to be ever. The world might be different with this happening, with the quarantine and such. I think there's going to be some differences in how we move and how we conduct normal life.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a lot of companies are already announcing they're going to stick with telecommuting as an option for many of their staff. That's
nice.
a huge thing that's always been talked about as something we could do to cut down carbon footprints and things like that. And I mean, from a financial side, that saves the company on having to run an office building where one is that as big as it was before. From a personal side, you're not spending money on gas or transportation. So, I mean, it's yeah, I think I agree that things are definitely going to be different now because we've gone through this sort of hard reset of how we behave in our environment. And I want to just backtrack real quick before we sign off about bees. We heard a lot in the news, especially I think last year, late 2018 and throughout 2019,
yes,
about the challenge that bees are facing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of information or talk that has kind of been quieted down because obviously we have a new giant thing we're all dealing with that's at forefront and scary. But I'm glad you brought bees up because
the murder
that
hornet
is still
is that what you're saying?
What's that?
The murder hornet?
No, I wasn't gonna bring up the murder hornet because that's just a hornet
I'm sorry,
it found itself in the wrong country. That's all.
Yeah.
No, but I was gonna bring up bees because again, we really do. I think the pandemic and having to stay at home, and we're reassessing how we're doing things. I think part of that reassessment is how we are also influencing things like bees and our pollinators, and that's incredibly important for our survival. And we talk a lot about how species influence either, fresh water or properly growing ecosystems and things like that. But bees, I mean, when they're gone, we're going to have a big, big problem. So
Yeah, it's. I mean, I know some like scientists are trying to figure out how to create mechanical bees. Like, I don't know if how far they've gotten with that, but
right. And that
why can't we just have the real ones?
that's it. I mean, it's like I appreciate the engineer going to great
Yeah.
lengths to create a mechanical bee.
Yeah.
But there's not much we have to do to just save the ones we have now.
Right.
How about we put our energy there? But
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Well, we always try to problem solve ourselves out of a problem we created, I guess. So
Yeah.
Well, Jordan, I know you are on your lunch break and you're going to need to get going, so I'm going to let you go. Thank you for joining me today. I'll post this on IGTV, and I've got this in my head that I'm going to post these over on YouTube as well, so it might end up there.
Before I go, I saw a comment here that kind of made me laugh. I would 100% watch the Rick and Jordan show. Just saying. Well, we could do something.
Well, hopefully that was a producer with a budget. That would be great. I'd be in.
All right. Seriously. Okay. I can go.
Well, and if not, we'll just start doing a daily thing here on Instagram with the two of us. We'll do something like that.
I'll be fine with that.
All right. We'll talk offline about that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to you, Jordan. I'm going to sign off then with the rest of my crew here watching. Okay. But thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Jordan, for joining us. Have a good one, man. All right. We are lucky to have Jordan join us today. He actually made time during his lunch break for this. That's why I kind of cut it short. I know he's got to get back to work. So with that, I'm going to readjust here a little bit since I had to adjust up when we shared the screen. Thank you all for joining us today on today's live. We've had a fun week starting on Tuesday with Stephanie, Wednesday with Kelly, yesterday with Mallory, today with Jordan. Because it's been kind of fun for me, I kind of just threw this together last minute and thought about it, and so I started texting these guys like, hey, you want to be on? I might keep doing this. I think you should check out tomorrow because tomorrow I have another special guest joining, a gentleman who's done a lot for talking to people on television about animals. And I'm pretty sure I have someone lined up for Sunday too that you're going to enjoy. So these aren't going away, at least not in the next 2 days. I'm not sure what next week is going to bring for me. Every week is kind of different for all of us. Jordan saying thank you there in the comments. Buddy, you're welcome. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate taking the time out of your schedule. So as of right now, there will be at least 2 more of these. I've got Saturday and Sunday booked with some great people coming on to share their special animal stories. I'm looking at what my schedule looks like for next week. I might have to adjust, maybe go to every other day, or maybe we'll just keep plowing through until it kind of fizzles out on its own. We'll see what happens. But either way, happy Endangered Species Day. Simple thing I want to say to you as a person living on this planet, it can seem overwhelming when the numbers state 31,000 species are critically endangered or threatened to be endangered. We hear a lot in the news about the rhinos and the elephants and other species, orangutans, etc. There are simple things you can do that they're so simple that you don't see the impact when you do them. But when you do them every day, or you do them every time you go shopping, or you do them across the span of a year on that frequency, and then 2 years, and then 5 years, it changes. A lot of the challenges these animals face in the wild are things that happen over small increments of time. We didn't see those little increments necessarily or pay attention to until all of a sudden it was a big deal. So the way to reverse that is to change things slightly. You've heard it all before. Be a conscious consumer. Think about the things you're purchasing and bringing home, and what part of what you're purchasing is going to go into the waste, right? And not get recycled or not be used. Think about when you are consuming, what are the products that are in something pre-made? We've heard about palm oil over and over again. It is devastating. But we can't turn our back completely from palm oil because they'll just create a new crop that does the same thing of clear cutting and monoculture plants. At this time, the best thing you can do is sustainable palm oil. So look for products that have that. Go to the websites that talk about that and have a stamp on there, and you can see what kind of products are going. It's in shampoo, it's in conditioner, it's in your food, it's in baked goods, anything like that, it's going to be in there. So those are the simple things you can do. And like Jordan and I talked about, the pandemic is showing us that we have massively decreased the carbon footprint of humans in these 9 weeks. Satellite imagery is there, the science is there. So ask your employer, if you still have one, hopefully you do, or when you go back to work, look at the realities of telecommuting. Even if it's 1 day out of the work week, that across a year, there's 52 weeks in a year, that's 52 days of telecommuting that you are not driving and not putting that carbon out there. So these little things, they all matter, they all happen. And the fun thing about conservation, when you do things like that, they will usually also save you money. The less energy you use, the less things you consume, the less gasoline, natural gas, electricity, all of that also helps you save money. As we head into the summer months here in the Northern Hemisphere, air conditioning is a big energy suck. So think about ways you can use a little less. Doesn't mean you can't use it if you have it. If you are medically, you need it, then please use it. But are there things you can do? Slight changes by 1 or 2 degrees can save you money across the summer and save energy. Simple things like that help our endangered species dramatically. Of course, and the big obvious one too, don't buy animal products. Little trinkets when you travel, whether it's ivory or pretend ivory or whatever it may be, anything that comes from a wildlife creature that is a body part, somebody had to pay the price for that. And a lot of times they will sell you on the idea that it's okay because they want to make the sale. But the smartest thing to do is just not purchase that. The best thing you can do is go on those eco tours, take those photos, be mindful of your imprint on the world around you. And then last, share the information. Check out the hashtag today, Endangered Species Day. There are a lot of great organizations, AZA, zoos, aquariums, conservation organizations around the world are using that hashtag. It's great to get information, to see what others are doing. You never know who you might find that you would want to join in their efforts. And that could be really impactful. Simply joining, sharing, following, talking with others about what they're doing can really make a big difference. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and sticking with me through my monologue here. It means a great deal to me. So thank you so much. I'll be putting this on IGTV a little bit later today if you want to go back and catch anything Jordan shared. Other than that, I hope you guys stay healthy, and I'll see you probably tomorrow. Well, no, definitely tomorrow, and also on Sunday, and maybe then the week after. Have a good one, everybody.
Oh.